Okay, good evening, and hello again if you joined us a few minutes ago. My name's Professor Eleanor Robson, and I'm the director of the Nahrein Network here at University College London. And it's a great pleasure to welcome you to our webinar on the Visiting Scholarship Scheme that we run jointly with the British Institute for the Study of Iraq. I'll say a couple of words about the network. Then we're going to play a short video describing how the visiting scholarship schemes work. And then it's a real pleasure to have with us this evening three people. Zainab Mahdi, who is running the session for us, the Deputy Director of the network, Dr. Mehiyar Kathem, and Dr. Abdulkareem Yaseen, who is a former awardee, a former holder of a scholarship, and has kindly agreed to talk to us this evening about what it's like to apply and what he got out of being a scholar. So I hope you'll find it helpful. And then we'll take as many questions as you have. We can talk through the application process. We can talk through the process of finding a host, anything that you need. And we should be about an hour and a half in total, I hope. But if you need more time, we can have it. So, oh yes, if you do want to ask questions, you can either put them in the Q&A rather than the chat, or if you'd rather ask them in to speak them, raise your hand and we can invite you to speak. So Zainab, let's get started with the little video, please. Zainab, I don't think we can hear the sound. Something's happened.
What are the Nahrein Network BC visiting scholarships?
The Nahrein Network British Institute for the Study of Iraq Visiting Scholarships is a scheme that began in 2018, designed to support Iraqi heritage professionals to come to the UK for 1 or 2 months and to work closely with a colleague here to undertake research. As long as they are within the general remit of the Nahrein Network as a whole, that is, that they support projects, research projects that are designed to think about how history, heritage, and related disciplines can contribute to the ways in which Iraq can grow and develop as society or economically or culturally, or tackle climate change. Then we're interested in all sorts of research.
What do the visiting scholarships fund?
The money itself that's awarded with the scholarship funds 2 different types of things. It funds all of the activities that the researcher needs, so from travel arrangements, accommodation, living expenses, equipment, and all of expenses needed by the host as well. So we make sure that everything covers for the one person coming on.
So who can apply?
So if you are working for an Iraqi university or a cultural heritage organisation, the State Board of Antiquities and Heritage, or the Ministry of Culture, or an NGO related to culture, or perhaps you are a PhD student in Iraq and you yourself are Iraqi, then you are eligible to apply.
How does one find a host?
So this is a question that lots of people ask us. In some ways, that's most challenging. It's really important that you have a host, because the idea is to develop a relationship with somebody. So you might know somebody already. You might have worked with them in Iran, to come across them while they were visiting, or you might have read about their work or seen them at a conference. So we provide a template letter so that you could use that if you wanted, if you're feeling a bit shy, to approach them and ask. And that letter covers all the basics of what the scheme is and what we can support. If you give us enough time, we can give you some suggestions for hosts. But it's really important you give us at least a month before the deadline in order to help us help you.
So how does one apply?
So in order to apply, you need to go to our website and find a form. It's a Microsoft Word form. It's in English because it's important that people who take the scholarship have good enough English to function in Britain. So you need to complete that form with information about you and about the simple information about the project you want to undertake and the host you want to work with and why you want to work with them. Some basic sense of what you want to do with your time in the UK. Give us a basic timeline. And it might also include work you want to do before and afterwards while you're in the lab. You upload that form and then you wait for just a few weeks until we've scrutinised all of the applications, and then we will make a selection. There's a panel consisting of members of the Nahrein Network leadership team and the British Institute for the Study of Iraq, and they choose competitively. So we fund 3 to 6 scholarships every year.
So there we are. That's the basic structure of the scheme. In order to hear a little bit more about it in practice, I'm going to ask Dr. Abdulkareem to talk to us for a little while now about his experience in applying for a scholarship and holding one. So Dr. Abdulkareem, over to you, if you may.
Okay, thank you very much, Eleanor. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for having me in today. And I'm really delighted to be here today. So hopefully I can offer something useful for all applicants, for all potential applicants. I'll just talk a little bit about my experience as an awardee. Actually, I completed my scholarship about 3 months ago. So, actually, I did a small research project hosted by University of Leicester and kindly supported by Nahrein Network and BISI, the British Institute of the Study of Iraq. Well, I have a few things to say today. First of all, I just need to stress the fact that blending heritage with my research interest has added actually an extra layer of depth and richness. So I can confidently say that integrating heritage with my research interests, because I did actually research on linguistics and stuff. So when I blended heritage with my research interest, that actually boosted my research interest exponentially. So that was well, let me describe it as a golden mine of experience, if I must say. So also I need to just give a little bit of advice to potential applicants, excuse me, about finding a host. So let me just give you small tips about how to find a host, because actually I had my own experience with that. So let me just describe how you could go about and find a host for your project. Well, I'll keep it as short as possible anyway. So first of all, you need to identify a host, which is sometimes proved challenging, but anyway, it's not rocket science, is it? So here is a very simple way how to do it. First of all, you need to try creating a list of potential institutions and contacts. And by this, you need to take a number of things into consideration. First of all, you need to look for the institution, if it provides you with the required resources. Obviously, you will need desk, you will need mentorship, you will need all what it takes to carry out your project. So you need to find if the institution is comfortable in terms of well, environment, if you like the city, if Well, if this is your first time, always try to ask former scholars, ask your colleagues, to see if the city you're applying for or the university you're applying for is suitable for your project anyway. And also you need to read about the supervisors, because obviously you need a supervisor. So read their profiles closely, because this will help you make an informed decision. Okay, so make sure that your research interests and your supervisor's research interests are matching. Look if they have projects in the field that you are working on. So obviously we are here talking about heritage and stuff. So make sure that they have the required expertise about heritage. Look for their publications and see if everything is matching with yours. Well, they need not to be perfectly matching though, but there must be some common ground there. So yeah, and so once you find potential supervisors, now you can start the process of emailing. So just try to email them. And when you email them, actually you need to write short emails. They need not to be very long because they don't have a lot of time. Actually, their inbox is normally loaded with emails. So give them time to respond and be clear about your project. Give some details about the fellowship, the time frame, and even your research interest. Also you need to attach your proposal, obviously. So attach it with your email, so they could have a look and see if there will be something, well, might come well out of this. Maybe, partnership between you and your supervisor. And yeah, like I said, give them some time to respond and then follow up politely if needed. But again, be patient, because actually, like I said, it's the inbox is usually loaded with emails, a lot of stuff. So they will take their time to read your proposal anyway. So they will need some time to consider a lot of things before they can respond to you, and maybe you could proceed from there. If you get accepted, if everything is fine, ask them to supply you with a reference letter, or not a reference, it's an acceptance letter actually. Which should be, well, officially headed with the university headed. Anyway, so after that, you're ready to go. So that's how you could actually find a host. Once you find a host, I can assure you that the guys with the Nahrein and the BISI will help you throughout your process, from traveling to having your accommodation there. And they will be helping you throughout the duration of your scholarship, and until the final day, until you return back home. So, I found the experience, all in all, I found it really, really useful. It was easygoing. It helped me a lot. Like I said, it developed my horizons. Although this sounds like a cliche, but yeah, but this is actually a reality. It's really boosted my research interests exponentially. Now I could actually, I had connections with people. I had connections with the friends, with people of of various research backgrounds. And so all in all, your experience will be enriching, and I think you should really consider applying, because this is like a golden opportunity for you to have a go and get a scholarship. So if you have any questions, if you have any particular things to ask, please feel free to do. Thank you.
Dr. Abdulkareem, thank you so much for speaking so clearly and so passionately about your experience as a visiting scholar. And the other lovely thing about the scheme, which has been running for 5 or 6 years now, is how the scholars sort of talk to each other and support each other as well. I think we've developed a network. So Zainab's posted in the chat a link to the profiles of some of our former scholars, including Dr. Abdulkareem. So you can see the range of work we support, the different types of people and backgrounds we support. And so hopefully they will give you all here some inspiration for thinking about applying. So I'm sure there are questions. Ali, let me give you, let me open your mic so that you can speak. I think, yes,
Hello.
you can talk. Hello, Ali, welcome.
Hello, doctor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for this invite. I want to ask you about degrees. Should I have degrees in my college in Baghdad in this program?
So we don't mind. So this is just a visiting thing. So we're not going to ask for any formal evidence of qualifications. So it doesn't matter which degree you have or where you are in your career. We're looking for interesting projects that need to be done in the UK with somebody in the UK. So we've supported people from all sorts of different backgrounds to do this work.
Then I have maybe 66%.
That doesn't matter. That's all good. So when we talked, some of you may have come to our webinar on the graduate studentship last month, which is for applying to do a master's and a PhD at UCL. Now that's different. That's for 1 year or 4 years, and that requires a very formal assessment of your English and your academic abilities, but that's because that's formal entrance to the University of UCL as a student. The visiting scholarship is different. This is just a short-term opportunity to come and do some work in the UK, supported by a colleague in the UK. So we don't ask to see evidence of your English language. We'll want to know that you can speak enough English so that you can live for 2 months in England and know how to, or Scotland, and know how to, go move around, buy food, talk to people. But we don't need to see any formal documentation. Okay, so it's different to the graduate studentship. So it's much easier to apply to because there's no kind of university formal requirements. It's just us making a decision.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. That's enough. Just speaking English and just speaking English, right?
Well, you need, because you'll be working in Britain, and you need to know how to talk to the people you're living with, talk to the people you're working with, buy food, use the library, all of those things. So,
Yes.
but it sounds to me as though your English will be good enough for that. Because
I think it's enough.
There won't be a test. There's no test for this program. We sometimes have a conversation with people who apply just so we can talk to them, but there's no formal test for this program.
It's okay. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Okay. Thank you, Ali. Kazan. Welcome, Kazan.
Hello,
Hello.
can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Oh, thank you very much for the opportunity. I actually have 2 questions. I started the application for the Nahrein MA, but I have a master. It's not based in Iraq. I have a master degree in Germany. I am not sure if you are accepting my master. Just if I'm applying for PhD, there are no specific application for the PhD. I found on your website, Nahrein UCL website, It just MA and MSc is uploaded. I mean, there are no application for the PhD. This is my first question.
Okay,
The
so
second,
I'll
okay.
message you separately about that, because that's a different scheme to the one we're talking about today. Okay, we're talking about the 2-month visiting
Yeah,
scholarship
sorry
today.
about that. I'm sorry about.
That's okay. You just if you can yeah, we'll talk about that separately. And do ask your other question.
The second question is also regarding the same application, because I have booked my IELTS test. I'm going to do the test by next week. Then is it possible to apply before your certificate arrive, or it would be better to apply after your certificate? This is my second question.
Okay. Why don't you contact us separately? I'm going to put our email address in the chat and we can talk about that separately, because I don't want to confuse people who are here to talk about the visiting
I thought this
scholarship. webinar
is also about the Nahrein.
No, that was last month. We did one last month about the
I was
graduate
attending.
scholarships. This is for the visiting scholarships professionals, 2 months.
Sorry about inconvenient.
That's no problem at all.
Okay,
Great.
thank you very much indeed.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Great. And then Ali, hello.
Hello. Good
Hello,
evening.
welcome.
Hello, Professor Eleanor. How are you?
It's good to hear you. Hello.
I really appreciate that I saw you right now, and I'm really waiting for like maybe 3 months to just meet you right now. And I really appreciated this opportunity from Nahrein Network to just become, part of this program. And this is, first of all, this is what's crossed my mind right now. So yes, I have many questions, but I make a short list of it. So I don't to bother you or take another time from another student here. I'm a PhD student actually in Baghdad University, and I work on my comparative literature studies. My thesis is about the effect of the Iraqi mythology in Iraqi community, especially in narration and other art. But I'm focused on narration right now, and how the myth is always connected with the collective memory of our community. So I already have my mentor. I connected with him. Is his work in Leeds University. He is Professor Al-Arakal. And I have two questions actually. So my goal, if I get this grant, and it's I hope it fits the theme of or on the goals of the network. My question is, I'm looking for just a published a research, and I hope this research fits the network goals. So is it okay?
Your PhD topic sounds very close to the sorts of things we're interested in.
I hope.
How an element of the past, mythology.
Yes.
How people today think about it and how it influences their lives. That's exactly the sort of work we're interested in supporting. And we're very keen to support PhD students to come to the UK and work with the supervisor for a while. So I'm really glad that you're going to apply. It sounds
thank you, Professor. I really want to be a part of this program, because I think it's provide the Iraqi students the knowledge and the the environment and academic surrounding that they need. This is what I believe. And the second question is, if I can ask about that, what time that the committee take to decide this this research is should be granted, take the grant?
That's a really good question. Okay, so our deadline is the 15th of February.
Yes.
And then the final decision is made by our management committee in the middle of March. So it's usually less than 4 weeks that.
Okay. Okay.
And then the other thing to say, not just to you, but to everybody, is that so our decision is quite fast. It can also, but then it can take a few months to organize the visit, because you have to apply for a visa, perhaps.
Mhm.
We have to organize the time that suits both you and your host. So yeah, so for a deadline in February, probably looking at coming in the summer or later in the year. We won't be able to kind of help you come in March. That would be very unusual, because the visa process takes some time.
Yes, sorry, Professor. I don't have another questions. I just want to, you know, show my appreciation, of course, to all of the efforts. And by the way, I just want to thank Zainab too, because Zainab is always bombard us with the emails that remind us of this meeting. So thank you, Professor. Yes, that's it.
Yeah, I absolutely echo your thanks to Zainab. She keeps everything running. She's marvelous. So Zainab, thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Yeah, bye-bye.
And thank you to Ali. These are great questions. I'm looking forward to reading your application.
Thank you, Robson. Bye-bye.
And Ahmed, welcome.
Okay. Hello, do you hear me?
Hello, we do. Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon,
Good
Dr.
afternoon.
I'm Ahmed Al-Ansari. I'm not sure if you remember me. We have worked together, I think, 2 or 3 years ago with Amara.
Yes. Hello.
I work in the University of Kufa, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm an anthropologist. I have a PhD degree in anthropology, and I'm planning to establish like anthropology department University of Kufa, which is would be like based on like American anthropology school, not like the British school, you know. And I'm not sure if I can if this program can like help me to establish that.
Well, we're certainly interested in supporting senior academics to develop the, university life in Iraq that are related to topics that we support. So I see it here. I think we have with us Dr. Maher Al-Heli, Professor Al-Heli from Mustansiriya University. He was one of our first visiting scholars back in 2018 or 2019. And he came to Britain to learn about how we teach medieval history in Britain and took that back to Mustansiriya. And so, yeah, we're very much interested in this sort of thing. So really everyone from graduate research students to heads of department, you're all welcome.
Great. I believe like in order to work on the cultural heritage and try to develop the how to use the studies of cultural heritage in Iraq is the to establish like an anthropology department, because I don't think we have like a department that can cover all the classes or stuff that we need to teach to our students. Another thing I'm planning to establish like a center of studies, like anthropological studies. So I'm going to apply on the program, and I hope I can get the opportunity.
I think that would be great. For me, anthropology is a really good way to look at what we call intangible heritage, traditional ways of living and being in the landscape, in communities, etc. So I think they're very closely related. I think
Great.
it'd be really great to see an application from you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Who else would like to ask a question, either live in the to raise your hand or in the Q&A? Roa, hello Roa, nice to see you here.
Hi, Eleanor, how are you?
Oh, it's lovely to hear your voice.
Me too. Thank
Oh,
you very much, for organizing this event today. It's really very important. I try to share it with most of my colleagues. Just a small question. Is there any specific specialization for someone who want to apply?
no, absolutely not. We are, one of the exciting things for me about all of the funding schemes we run is that people come with ideas and research topics that I would never have thought about. So, I mean, I know that it's probably obvious to other people in the webinar that you and I know each other, and your specialism in computing, we would need to think about how we could apply that to heritage, but there are, or history or the past in some way, but there are lots of ways in which we could do that.
Yeah, this is very important.
Exactly.
Because one of my master students, she already work on using the modern techniques for how to preserve the cultural heritage that we already lost during the war or during the ISIS occupation. So maybe I will really push her to apply for this scholarship.
That would be great. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thing.
Thank you very much for all your support, really.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure.
And I hope to see you soon.
Yes, I hope so too, Ara.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. So while people are thinking about other questions, I think I want to say a little bit more about looking for hosts. So as Abdulkareem says, we can, and as I said in the video, we can offer support for that. But I want you to bear in mind two things. First of all, we've been getting some queries from people who haven't even tried to find a host yet and who've just said, oh, find one for me. We can't do that. We need to see some evidence that you've tried and give us some guidance about the sort of people you want to work with, and then we can help. But yeah, we can't, we have limited capacity to support everybody without them giving us any useful information about that. The other thing to bear in mind is that British universities shut for 2 weeks during Christmas and New Year. So from about the 22nd of December to about the 3rd of January, there'll be a lot of people that aren't answering emails. So if you do ask people and you don't get a reply instantly, don't worry, it's probably just because they're taking their annual break from email. So be patient, and you will have lots of time in January and February to follow up on that. That's why we're doing this webinar early, to give you lots of time to find a host. And it also means that we won't be answering emails and queries over that period as well, because we'll also be taking a break. But we will pick everything up afterwards. Tariq, welcome. Please, would you like to ask your question?
Hello, how are you?
Hello, welcome.
Welcome. My name is Dr. Tariq Altai from Mosul University. Yes, College of Political Science. Yes.
Lovely. Welcome. What is your
Welcome.
question, Dr. Tariq?
Dr. Elena, I would like to ask you something. Previously, I submitted applications and proceeded all the materials I provided you about war and cultural heritage in Iraq after 2003. And I get the letter of support from London Global University to support as a host UK institutions. But I did not know what's the reason. Sorry, I would like to get to inform you that I got refusal, but I didn't why. What's the reasons behind that? Because the letter that you sent it to me did not clarifying the reasons why.
Yeah, no, I understand. So we always have
your institutions in order to amend or idea the plans. Okay. Yes.
So thank you. So
thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, we get lots and lots of applications every year, and we only fund between 5 and 6 scholarships every year, and so it's quite difficult to provide feedback for everybody. But I think if you can be as clear as possible about, and again, I don't remember the details of your application, I'm afraid, Dr. Tariq, because we do see a lot.
Yes.
The ones that succeed, let me tell you about what a good application looks like. So of course it has a host and it has a project linked to our themes, but the project itself, if you can, the good projects describe very clearly exactly what work needs to be done, why that work needs to happen in the UK and not in Iraq, and has a detailed timetable so that we can see that it is 2 months work, and not, the project's not too big or too small. And so a lot of people, when there's a section in the on the application form that says, give us a timetable for the work, and quite a lot of people just write 8 weeks. I'm not saying that you did this because I don't remember, but we need to see kind of some description of the plan for the project. So it's not just an idea for a project, but it is a plan for how you will do the work. And that's usually what distinguishes the best applications from the applications that are not so good.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this fruitful answer. It means I will amend it and resend my applications. Thank you very much. Best wishes forever.
I'm very glad that was helpful. Looking forward to seeing it, Dr. Tariq.
Thank you.
Sorry, Eleanor, I think we've got a couple of questions in Q&A coming in.
Oh, thank you.
Cheers.
So we have, so somebody asked, are only people at working at universities eligible to apply? No, lots of people are welcome. So we support people who work for the State Board of Antiquities and Heritage. We have had many scholars there, people who work in heritage for NGOs or for other organizations. So you are very welcome to apply if you're not in a university, and you don't have to have a university as your host. So some of our hosts have been archives, libraries, museums, small heritage organizations. So anything that would be useful for you. So one of our very first visiting scholar actually was not an academic. He runs a travel and tourism company, and he wanted to come to the UK to learn how to do that better. So and he's still going, and his company is doing really, really well. So that's one example of somebody who's not in academia and doesn't work for the government. So we're really open to all sorts of things. So yeah, Mana asks about the form, but you should be able to find that from our website, even if the form doesn't link directly. I know it's open at the moment because I'm seeing applications coming through, and I checked it today. And Mana, yes, you're very welcome to apply if you're a PhD student. Do we have any other? Oh, let me see. Have we got any other questions? So Noor asks if the application is for fifth-year architectural engineering students. If you are doing research, Noor, then you are eligible to apply. Yes. Lawrence asks, when is the time of the scholarship? So the duration is up to 2 months, and you can just come once for one visit. When you choose to come, which time of the year is entirely your choice. You can, well, you and your host together decide that, but we will need enough time to plan the visit. So we can't come the week after we give you the scholarship. That's logistically impossible. Dilshad, hello Dilshad, welcome. Dilshad, you ask if it's possible to repeat the visiting scholarships. This scheme is really only for people who've never had it before, but we will be introducing a new scheme next year for people to apply for small grants to continue work. So you'll be eligible for that. I can't say too much about it at the moment because we haven't finished organising the details, but in the spring, in a 2 or 3 months' time, we'll be offering a new scheme that you will be eligible for. So Russia asks about whether she should apply for this scheme for short-term visits or to apply for the our graduate studentship. Russia, you can apply for both. Apply for both of them. You will. So the other thing to bear in mind, Russia, is that we offer 5 or 6 of these things every year, but only one of the graduate studentships. So you have a better chance with this scheme. And also the requirements are lower for this scheme because we don't require formal evidence of English language testing. So apply for both. Mana asks, how do we help someone find the host? Well, as Abdulkareem explained earlier, you need to start doing that yourself. You need to think about the researchers whose work you've read or that you know about and find them online and write to them first. If that doesn't work and you can show us that you've tried and failed and can give us some ideas about the sort of people you want to work with, then in January we will help you. We'll try and help you find somebody. But yeah, it won't be until January now because we've got a lot of work to do at the moment, and then we're going on a break in a couple of weeks' time. So if you're working as an English language teacher at a secondary school, yes, you can apply. Absolutely. That's you're very welcome if you have a suitable project. So Mustafa asks, can you apply without permission letter from my organization? Well, the State Board is very good at giving letters of permission, actually, Mustafa. But also we need to know that it's okay for you to leave the country and that you will have a job to come back to when you're finished. We don't want to do anything that will get you into trouble. So please show us that it's okay for you to take the scholarship up, and that we won't be getting you into trouble with your employer. So Nora asks, bachelor students, no, this is not a scheme for bachelor students. This is for graduate students, so people who are doing research. But if you are doing research as part of your undergraduate program, some programs do, then we could consider it, but this is mostly for professionals. Rana asks about applying for a master's scheme. Well, we do run a master's scheme, but this is not what we're talking about today. So Zainab, could you post the link to the master's program scheme that we and the link to the webinar that we ran last month for Rana, I beg your pardon, Rana. So she can see about that scheme. This is for, yeah, this is for just short-term visits, not for taking a degree in Britain. So Ariane asks about the range. So no, the Nahrein Network is about history and heritage and the past, and how the past can support Iraq now. So we don't support we support heritage science, but we don't support biology or medicine or things like that. We run from a history department here in London. We're very much about the past. So Allah asks about a scheme for research funds. So we are currently, we have one big scheme every year, which closed in October, and we're reviewing those applications at the moment. And as I said to Dr. Dilshad, we will be opening a new scheme for smaller research funds early next year. So if you want to find out about that, then join our sign up to our newsletter. We will have more information about that, and I'm sure we will run a webinar on that when we open it. But that's yeah, we're not ready to launch that yet. We've got a lot of other things happening at the moment. So what are the requirements for applying? So on the website, you can see the eligibility criteria, and I will just share my screen so that we can talk that through again. If you missed the hang on a minute. Let me just make that a bit bigger. Okay. Oh, hang on a minute. Ah, sorry, my screen. I've got a new laptop and Zoom isn't yet set up to share screen, so I can't do it, unfortunately. But I will just paste it, the eligibility requirements again, into the chat. And this is what it says on the website. So you must be Iraqi, you must live in Iraq, normally you must have a project that was related to the work we do. You can't have had a scholarship before. And yeah, you can see there the description of the sorts of work we fund. So I hope that's helpful. Oh, and when I'm sorry if you missed Dr. Abdulkareem speaking about his experience. He did that at the beginning of the webinar. If you've missed that, when the all of this has been recorded, Zainab will share the link to the recording with everybody after the event, so you'll be able to go back and listen to it. The event will also be on our YouTube channel, so you can listen to it there. So you'll hear Dr. Abdulkareem speaking there. But I wonder, Dr. Abdulkareem, is there anything that you'd like to add, having heard all of this conversation? And I think any other advice you'd like to give our attendees today?
Yeah, I just have a small tip regarding how to find a host. Well, there's always your good friend about finding a host is using LinkedIn and Google. So, well, you can start normally by Googling the profiles of academics or specialists in heritage and see if they could fit in with your research interests. So, if this is your first time applying for a host, you can start with Googling about the potential academics or hosts, supervisors. So you could use Google, you could use LinkedIn, you could use the university websites themselves, their profiles on the institutions. Just have a look and see if there is something in common between you and them, and you can then approach them, and maybe you could reach something after that. So you could work from there. So that's the only thing left I think I can add to the discussion today. Try Google, try LinkedIn, try the website, web pages, and to find potential hosts and supervisors.
Thank you, Abdulkareem. That's very helpful.
Because I personally did that actually. I found my host by Googling the profiles of academics. So I didn't ask anyone for help. Actually, I just Googled the profiles of the academics. Well, a range of them, actually, a lot of them. Then I decided to email a couple of them, and then I finally managed to get an accepting letter from, as you remember, Dr. Selina Wisdom from University of Leicester. And then, I went on and did my project, and it was a beautiful experience after all. So, yeah.
Yes, it was lovely, wasn't it? And lots of academics are very kind and generous and want to work with new people. So don't be shy at asking. So Mustafa asked about a project on cuneiform studies in Iraq and its future. That would also be relevant. So yes, please do. Ali, do you want to ask another question, please? And Zainab has, oh, that was accidental. Sorry, you get to come in. Ali.
Hello, Professor.
Hello.
Sorry, but I read someone typing. This program not support baccalaureate. I have baccalaureate business management from Rapidin University in Baghdad.
Oh yeah, if you have your degree already, then yes, we support you. We can't support students who are currently doing their, if you have graduated already, then yes. If you haven't graduated and you are still studying, then we can't support you because you need to be in university doing your studies, not in London or somewhere else, okay? So if you've finished, please apply. If you haven't finished, wait. Our scheme, we have currently this, we will run this every year until 2030 or possibly 2031. So there are lots of opportunities to apply if you have in the future, if you haven't finished your studies yet. We will still be here next year and the year after that and the year after that and the year after that and so on. We're not going to go away.
Sorry, but speak slowly. My English language is not very good. Then this program will accept me. I finished my college 2 years ago. Business management.
Yes. Okay. Good.
Accept, right? Right? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Anybody else? Oh, super. Okay. So Allah asks, is a statement from the employer of the candidate needed? If you are going to take time off work to do the scholarship, then yes, we need to see that that is okay with your employer, because we don't want you to come back home after your scholarship and find that your employer has sacked you because you should have been at work. Okay. So please show us in whatever form it's appropriate for you that it's okay for you to come to the UK, right? And that your employer knows and is happy with it. So for the universities, that's normally fine. For the State Board of Antiquities and Heritage, that's normally fine, because they all know the Ministry of Culture, the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research both support this scheme very strongly. They know about it, they understand it, they welcome it. Yeah, but we do need to know that you're not going to be in trouble if you come. All right. Any more questions before we close? Ahmed.
Hello again.
Hello.
I have a question about the host. I mean, which kind of obligation the host need to provide? I mean, for me.
So it depends what sort of support you need. So we look for somebody who will actually spend some time with you and discuss your work with you and be supportive. We had a poor Dr. Dilshad, who was asked you a question earlier when he visited over a year ago. His host didn't host him at all. It was very sad, and we had to give him lots of extra support. So yeah, it's important that your host is willing to meet with you and talk to you about your research and show you around. I'm not sure that answers your question.
You mean just about supervision, right?
Yeah, just to be a friend to you, someone you can collaborate with and talk to. Yeah. And
It's
if you do end up publishing formally with them, that's an added bonus.
Right.
But we don't expect that. It's whatever you and the host think is going to be good for you.
Right.
So I wonder, Abdulkareem, perhaps you can say a little bit about how you worked with Selena. That might be helpful.
I mean, it's not about financial obligation
No, because we pay everything. So we
Right.
will. So to the people who are awarded the scholarship, so what happens is that we at the network give a grant for each scholarship. We give a grant to the British Institute for the Study of Iraq, and they organize all of the practical arrangements. So they will contact you and organize and pay for travel to the UK, pay your visa costs, help you get the visa. They will organize your accommodation in Britain. They will give you enough money to buy food, have travel, have your expenses in the UK. And then if the university or the museum or the library you're working with need some financial support to work with you, then that is also paid for. So you don't need to pay anything, and the host doesn't need to pay anything. It's all covered by the costs of the scholarship.
Great. That's answered my question. Thank you so much.
Great. And Osama asks, is there a specific age? No, you just need to be an adult. Great. So people are asking for links to the website. And the scholarships form again, I'll post that in the chat again. So Osama asks, materials, physics and laser interactions. Okay, so I can say it again. This is a scheme based in a history department. We fund projects related to the past. So history, archaeology, heritage, but very broadly constructed. So if you're working as an anthropologist or an architect or like Abdulkareem in languages, there are lots of ways to apply those humanities and social sciences projects and scientific projects to the study of the past. But the projects have to be related to the past, and they have to support our research aims, which I will post in the chat again. So yeah, your projects must relate to one or more of those questions. Okay. Mehiyar, who's my deputy. Mehiyar, you've been very quiet. Is there anything you want to add? Any advice you want to give?
Yeah, thank you, Eleanor. I hope my sound is clear. I would like to focus on before you contact a host, think very carefully about your research. And the research really should be something that you want, not something that you think we at the Nahrein Network want or think that is more likely to be funded or supported. And why do I say this? Because we receive a lot of applications that are not necessarily tied to the interests of the researcher. And they are just ideas that are that are not connected to the researcher. And it's really important that you take some time. You can take a few days to do this, or maybe a day, and you go through what is it that you want from this scholarship. I think that's the most important thing. And then once it's clear, have your notebook or a piece of paper and write all the things that you think are important that you want to realize or achieve from this scholarship. Once you have those ideas, put them into a 3, 4, 5 paragraphs, right? And very simply, why you want this scholarship, what are the benefits to your career and your research interests, how will it improve your career? These are some of the things that are really important, and we get a lot of applications that those basic things are not part of the application. We want to know about you and your interests and why you want to come to the UK, because you could actually maybe do the research in Iraq, in Iraqi Kurdistan. You don't really need to come to the UK if you can do the research and undertake the research in Iraq. So you have to make a very clear case, and that is based on the thinking that you need to do when you're preparing the application or the outline of your research. Only once you have that, and I would suggest that it's at least 2 pages, a page, 2 pages, or sometimes you can take the application, you can complete the application itself and send to a potential host. And as Abdulkareem said, you can search for a host online. You can go to the respective websites in the UK, the university websites. Maybe it's a museum, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a university, because museums are also research organizations in the UK. So it's really important that you have at least 1 or 2 pages of the application itself, so completed, that you send to a potential host. And that will make life much easier for you, because potentially the host may be suitable for you, but you haven't given him or her sufficient information about your research interests and why you want to come to the UK and why you want to work with this host, this research host. So you really need to take a step back and think very strategically and plan this properly, because often applications are rushed. The deadline is next month, and people often work on this application maybe a day or 2 days before, and they rush and they say we have, you know, they rush and the application isn't of the caliber or the quality that it needs to be. And this is why some applications are rejected. They may have a host, but the application maybe not be great, or maybe the application is okay, but they don't have a host. You need those two things, but ultimately you need a good research project that fits you, and that is actually designed to help you in your path towards improving and strengthening your skills in the field that you're interested in. I hope that's clear. You know, we can help. As Professor Eleanor said, we can help and guide and support, but really you need to take the initiative first to undertake the research proposal or outline. And I mean, for example, someone from an institution in Iraq sent me recently half a page outline, and it wasn't very clear. And I said to him, please go back and work on the application, work on the proposal or the outline in more detail. What is it that you want? Because if it's not clear to me and to us, it's not going to be clear to an academic in the UK, in another university. So the English has to be decent, doesn't have to be amazing, but you have to make sure that your ideas are clearly explained in the outline, and maybe you can ask questions, and you can put questions in the outline, like a research question, and that will help. That may be a way, like a shortcut for the host, potential host, the supervisor, to understand what you want by asking a question. You can actually say, I want to research this because this will improve, strengthen a museum display units in this museum, and say why you want to do that and what is the problem. And often what we find in applications is that the problem statement is not clear. So the problem what is it that you want to do? What are you trying to address? And so by stating a question, making a question, simple question, doesn't have to be more than a few words, right? As part of your application, that will help the reviewer, or will help us, but it will help the host or the potential host or the supervisor better understand what you're interested in. So I hope that's been helpful. And that's what I have to say, because I think that is the main thing. It's really about your research. It's not about the host. The host isn't a problem. The main thing is what you want to do, and it has to be clear in the actual application. Thank you.
No, thank you, Mehiyar. I think that's really important. Yeah, we have never rejected anybody on the grounds of the host, because yeah, always the host will hosts only accept projects that they want to work with. So get the project well enough to develop to convince your host, and then the rest follows. And often the host will help you work on and refine a project as well. So it's good to do that. So remember the deadline. So now we're in early December. You have over 2 months until the deadline on the 15th of February. So start your research now, or start to articulate your project now, so that you can either approach a potential host in the next 2 weeks, or, and this is probably better, keep working on it in December and then ask a potential host early in January. So if you ask somebody in Britain in late December, they will not reply to you because they will be offline at home with their families doing things for Christmas and the New Year. So you have a month to get your project sorted out in your head and to do some research about potential hosts. And then you have a month, more than a month in the new year, to contact your host to agree hosting arrangements and a timetable. and then to apply. So that's the order I think that a good application should take. Right. So yeah, we are around by email to answer questions, except in late December and early January. But don't leave it too late, because we can't help you to if it's too late. If you don't make it in time for this year, there is always next year and the year after that. So don't panic, we're not going to go away. However, having said not going to go away, we've been talking late into the evening, and I'm sure it's time to stop now. I think we've run out of questions in the chat, and we've run out of questions in the Q&A. So let's call this web. Oh, one more question from Dilshad, and then I think we should end it. Dr. Dilshad, please, your question. Yes, no? We got Dr. Dilshad. I think we lost. Dr. Dilshad, did you want to ask a question? Okay, we have another question here then. Any more questions? Okay, there's one in the Q&A. All right, who could be my supervisor? Well, this is just what we've been talking about. You need to do your research on that, at least to begin with, and then we can support you. Okay, I think we are now repeating our questions and answers. So let's say goodbye. Thank you so much for coming. I hope it's been useful. Thank you very much indeed, Mehiyar, Zainab, and Dr. Abdulkareem. You've all contributed really well.
Thank you.
Do listen again, because we've recorded this, so listen again. Read the advice on the website, and I'm really looking forward to reading applications as they come in February, and I'm looking forward even more, I hope, to seeing excuse me, to seeing some of you in the UK in 2024 doing great research with great people, and I'm sure that will be the case. So thank you once again, and thank you very much for the kind